Good morning, everyone. I'm thrilled to open the European Cetacean Society Conference 2022, and as such, I wish to address the important conference theme with focus on the local arena, the Levant Basin. So, I'm going to talk about marine mammals in the Eastern Mediterranean, their conservation, and ask the big question, are we on the right path? Let's begin. Located at the easternmost part of the Mediterranean Sea, the Levant Basin is considered as the saltiest, the hottest, and the least productive region with the entire Mediterranean. This is why it is not surprising that the Levant has the lowest marine mammal species richness and only 6 permanent resident species of cetaceans versus 11 in the West Basin. Prior to the 90s, knowledge about marine mammals in the eastern Mediterranean was scarce. The most common cetacean was the bottlenose dolphin, with only few reports on common and rough-toothed dolphins. First sighting for a Lessepian migrant dolphin was reported, the Susa plumbea. Cuvier's beaked whale was considered by Marchessault to be as common in the East Basin as in the West, with evidence for occasional presence of false killer whale and sperm whale. Baleen whales were less common, with only few observations. Here in the picture you can see the first photographed evidence for a fin whale along the Israeli shore. In the early 90s, continuous research on marine mammals along the Israeli coast was started. Due to lack of resources, we focused on stranded animals. About 400 individuals were found dead along the Mediterranean Israeli coast between 1994 and 2022. They were found stranded, floating, or delivered by fishermen. More than 60% were identified as common bottlenose dolphin, showing steady annual mortality rates along the years. The other 40% comprised of 9 different species, some identified for the first time. Measurements were taken from most animals, and samples were taken for DNA, age, heavy metals, and pathology. Recently, samples have also been saved in an apex predator tissue bank. The stranded animals also helped to establish evolutionary information on the Levant populations. Tissue samples collected from 68 stranded common bottlenose dolphins show that the dolphin population in Israel is genetically distinct from the rest of the eastern Mediterranean, as you can see on the right part of the slide. The information collected from corpuses was supplemented and expanded by marine surveys. Half-day boat surveys were conducted year-round, starting in 2005, identifying additional species and individuals. 2 coastal species were photographed for identification, the common bottlenose dolphin and the common dolphin. 185 common bottlenose dolphins and 43 common dolphins, not including calves, had significant marks on their dorsal fin, enabling individual identification. 98 of the bottlenose dolphin and 17 of the common dolphins were sighted in multiple years along the Israeli coast. New individuals keep joining our coasts and our catalog, producing a growing discovery curve that indicates an open population. In order to fill time gaps between shipboard surveys, we used passive acoustic monitoring that verified year-round residence of the former species. Sightings are also reported by the Israeli Navy and through citizen science. To date, 13 species of cetaceans have been observed in Israel's Mediterranean water. We have the residents, common bottlenose dolphin, common dolphin, striped dolphin, rough-toothed dolphin, and rhesus dolphin. We have occasional visitors like the fin whale you can see in the video. It was not the first encounter with the species, but it was the most exciting one. Previous encounters with fin whales along the Israeli coast were mostly with dead or alive stranded animals, and here we finally had a chance to meet one alive, although it looked a bit thin, close to the shore. Another visitor is the false killer whale that was previously sighted in deep waters in the open sea, but never so close to shore, until 2020, when it arrived to Sdot Yam on the central coast of Israel, and with high numbers and very good mood. Sperm whales were seen 5 times in the past 2 years, also close to the shore, but this time on the northern coast just on the Lebanese border. In all 5 times, it was sighted on top of Achziv submarine canyon, where depths are changing rapidly from 100 to 800 meters. In this video, you can see 2 individuals. Two more visitors in the Mediterranean coast of Israel, the Cuvier's beaked whale and minke whale. We also have one-time visitors. At the year 2000, we had several sightings of Indo-Pacific humpback dolphin that is considered as Lesepsian species. In 2010, a gray whale paid us a visit. It came all the way from the North Pacific, and it looks like it just took the wrong turn to the Mediterranean Sea instead of Baja California. He was photographed in Gibraltar 3 weeks after the sighting in Israel, and it seems that he did all his way back out of the Mediterranean Sea well. In 2020, we had another unusual sighting along the Israeli coast up north. It was identified as Riptide, a male known in Iceland, and it was his last sighting here in the Mediterranean. Data published by our neighboring countries, as you can see in the map published by the Lebanese National Center for Marine Sciences, shows that some resident species, notably bottlenose dolphins, also reside off their coasts. Since cetaceans are highly mobile, and since political borders in the Levant do not follow natural oceanographic barriers, it is most probable that they do not recognize such borders and that the home range of individuals readily violates them. Deep-water species, striped dolphin and rhesus dolphin, were also seen during research survey in summer 2008 west to Syria's steep coast. In addition, sperm whale individuals that were sighted in Israel on the Lebanese border, as you saw earlier, were also reported by Lebanese fishermen on social media in the same time frame. In the south coast of Israel, common dolphins are seen close to the Israeli border, but were not reported in Egyptian water by Farag et al. Yet, common bottlenose dolphin, together with three species of whales, fin whale, sperm whale, and Cuvier's beaked whale, were reported. So, we have quite an impressive amount of data. But the real question is it of any help to the marine mammals of the Levant Basin? In all these years of research, we were able to diagnose only one dominant recurring cause of death: unintentional entanglement of cetaceans in fishing gear. Bottlenose and common dolphins demonstrate association with trawlers, as you can see in the slide, evidence in sightings and in stomach content analysis. Unfortunately, 21% of all dead stranded cetaceans show evidence of entanglement in fishing gear. We know that from fishermen reports, net marks on the corpse, and full stomachs. 60% of bycatch involve trolling gear, inside the net or the lazy line, and the remaining bycatch being caused by entanglement is gill nets. All bycatch caused by trawlers involved common bottlenose dolphin and common dolphins, while gillnet victims also included striped dolphin, rough-toothed dolphin, and minke whale. Heavy metals concentrations were monitored in stranded animals, showing similar levels to the Western Mediterranean. Stable levels over time suggested stability in heavy metals concentrations of the basin food web. It was rare to find direct cause of death in postmortem autopsy, but it happened. Here you can see the larynx of a female bottlenose dolphin that swallowed a fishing net, and the net was wrapped around her larynx and finally led to her death. A variety of other pathological findings were also detected. And yet, there are threats that we cannot determine for sure. One of them is the changes we noticed in the allegedly stable common bottlenose dolphin population. In 2012, it seems that sighting frequency in the northern Israeli coast is declining. On the map to the left, you can see sighting summary of our two coastal species between the years 1999 and 2021. Tursiops truncatus in pink and Delphinus delphis in yellow. Ori Galili showed in strong pink dots that since 2014, Tursiops sightings on surveys on the northern coast completely stopped for at least 6 years. The radical decline in dolphin presence was also evident in reports from yachtsmen, fishermen, and the Israeli Navy. An important fact worth mentioning is that this northern coast is in most part a flourishing marine protected area. How can we know what is the real cause for the bottlenose dolphin disappearance from the area if our study must end in Rosh Hanikra on the Lebanese border? How can we know what happens to the common dolphin, in yellow on the map, on the southern border of Israel if the study ends in Ashkelon? More details on the common dolphin on Yali Mevorach talk on Wednesday afternoon. If this is not enough, we have climate change, Lesepsian migrants, mainly of cetacean prey, acoustic activity of gas industry, boat traffic and shipping, and marine pollution with substances extracted from microplastic on top, all posing a regional threat to marine mammals in the Levant. Marine mammals have an important role in the marine environment, especially in the oligotrophic Levant. As apex predators, they help maintain ecosystem functionality and resilience by top-down control. They are also considered umbrella species in the sense that actions that contribute to their conservation and that of their habitat can benefit marine biodiversity in general. In the Mediterranean Sea, several populations are in dire straits and most have been classified as threatened in the IUCN Red List. Regional treaties and agreements do exist. Barcelona Convention, ACOBANS, and the recent Important Marine Mammals Area Initiative that identify discrete portions of a habitat that are important for one or more marine mammal species and that have the potential to be delineated and managed for conservation. The Israeli coastline was declared in 2016 as an important area for the common dolphins and the common bottlenose dolphin. Yet, its limits stem from incomplete existing knowledge, stymied by international borders rather than by solid science that truly defines and delimits units for conservation. There are still large gaps in our knowledge of cetacean distribution, especially between the east and the west basin of the Mediterranean Sea. As you can see on the central map on the left, aerial surveys were totally missing at the time in the east, and the limited information was mostly based on stranded animals and few surveys. In 2018, Israel took part in the ACOBAM Survey Initiative project, covering an aerial area of more than 70,000 square kilometers. The project aimed to establish an integrated, collaborative, and coordinate monitoring system for the status of cetacean populations at the whole ACOBAMS area. Although the survey was successful and met most of its goals, it encountered difficulties in the Levant due to political constraints and did not contribute to narrowing the mentioned gap of knowledge. As long as geopolitics hinder regional science-based conservation goals, they will not be achieved. It seems that only work with neutral body that would in earnest take upon itself to mediate data sharing between all concerned parties will produce a platform that can serve as a base for regional conservation management. The IUCN project for the monk seal protection in the Eastern Mediterranean is a good example for a regional project managed by a neutral organization. The Mediterranean monk seal is catalogued as endangered by the IUCN, and its estimated population worldwide is less than 700 to 800 animals, most of them located in Greece, Cyprus, and Turkey. This population is the sum of an unknown number of isolated subpopulations. Although information about the animals exists with several catalogs and capture-recapture reports, since it was not shared between them, little was known about the entire population structure and viability, or if there was a connection and movement of animals between those subpopulations. Several occasions of monk seal individuals monitored in one area that has been detected in another one raise the importance of improving the communication between the different organizations working with the species, especially with the ones located in those nearby areas with low monk seal sightings populations. On the right, you can see Maya, a female Mediterranean monk seal that was sighted in Israel at least 5 times since 2010. We marked all her scars enabled to identify her, and we did on 2010, 2014, 15, 16, and 18. The video on the left was taken north to Beirut in 2020. Due to the COVID, animals got closer to shore, and we were able to identify Maya by her scars, as you can see if you are able to compare between the scars on the right and the video itself. It was good news, since it was the first report or the first sighting of Maya after the big explosion in Beirut's port. So it was very exciting. In order to create a common database that will help to define whether we are looking at populations using their entire distribution area, or at an early stage of future expansion of the breeding population to other nearby areas, the project is focusing on two main courses of action. Build a regular exchange of information by online updates meeting and technical knowledge exchange. We hope that this international mutual cooperation will lead to a better understanding of the monk seal distribution and hopefully recovery of the population. So, I want to use this platform to call for a greater international cooperation and exchange of data in order to expand our options for conservation of marine mammals in the Eastern Mediterranean. I want to thank all the volunteers and researchers that spent days and nights at sea and on the beach collecting data for the last 30 years. The Leon Recanati Institute for Maritime Studies and Maurice Kahn Marine Research Station at Haifa University for raising generations of young researchers. I want to thank Dani Kerem, the founder of Marine Mammals Research in Israel, and Aviad Shainin, that always knows how to look ahead. And I want to thank you for your time and attention. I will be happy to answer any questions that you might have, either in the next few minutes or on the conference platform. Thank you very much.